My name is Henry LeMay. I grew up in Texarkana, which sits on the state line between Texas and Arkansas. In fact, the courthouse sit right on the dividing line. Half of it was in Texas and the other half in Arkansas. Living in the South, you learn to do for yourself for survival. Prejudice was just a part of living at that time. We were accustomed to it. It was a part of life. What made life easier in the South was the fact that my parents had strong Christian beliefs. They believed in the whole Bible, not just the parts that seemed easy. They taught us to love and respect everybody, including those that would treat us wrong. You learn to follow the rules for your own safety and for your family's safety. After we left Texarkana, my family and I moved to Oakland, California. We went from totally segregated schools in the South to desegregated schools in California. I attended Edison High School in Fresno, and after school, I joined the Army and took my basic training at Schofield Barracks in Hawaii before leaving to fight in the Korean War. When we first arrived in Korea, it was January of 1952. It was freezing cold. I met two platoon sergeants that were getting ready to rotate back to the States. We were their replacements. The company commander said to them, "Why don't you two take this truck back to the rear?" And they replied, "Sir, if you don't mind, we'd like to put our platoons in place before we go." So they accompanied their platoons up to the MLR and installed them in their respective positions, started back down on the backside of the mountain, and when an enemy mortar round dropped right between them, and they both were killed. They could have been on that truck on their way home, but instead they went up one more time and they never got the chance to go home again. During the period of time between January and November 1952, I fought in a couple of scrimmages and came through them without harm. But on November 3rd, 1952, while defending a hill called Heartbreak Ridge, we were attacked by an overwhelming force, being outnumbered 10-1. In this battle, our company had 26 casualties, 6 killed and 20 wounded. I was one of the wounded, receiving grenade shrapnel in both legs, and I spent from November 3rd until December the 10th in Osaka Army Hospital. That, along with the 2 sergeants that were killed, showed me that no one can be too sure of what is to come. You really don't know what will or will not happen to you. I was discharged in August of 1954 and returned to college a few years later to finish up my degree and to take my state board for journeyman carpenter. I worked for many years as a carpenter at the Veterans Hospital until I retired. Eventually, I was ordained a minister by my church and now work with nursing home residents and in prisons. Looking back at my time in Korea, I remember thinking nothing could happen to me, even in the middle of battle. After battle upon battle, your heart no longer jumps to your throat every time you hear a mortar round. But sometimes you see guys you know getting wounded, even killed, and realize that there's the possibility that the same could happen to you. But you can't worry about that too much because you might jeopardize yourself and others. You can't keep these thoughts in your mind because they can affect how you do your job. To me, the definition of courage is being able to do what you have to do when you really don't think that you can. Many young men have laid down their lives doing exactly that. so that we may have the freedoms and justice that we are able to enjoy today. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.